And we're back for our daily NBA predictions here on the channel. This is November 20th, and obviously we're doing these NBA predictions every single day. We have got 8 games, I believe, on the docket today in the association. Of course, we're going to be predicting every single one. The headline tonight, I would say, is a matchup between the Atlanta Hawks and the Golden State Warriors in the Chase Center, obviously in San Francisco, California. We've got some good games, though, overall, but that is the big one tonight, obviously, with the Hawks coming off their huge victory a couple nights ago over the Sacramento Kings. And additionally, for the Warriors, right, losing that game in their last one at the Intuit Dome to the Los Angeles Clippers. So a fun one in that one, obviously, Trae Young versus Steph Curry. And we've got some other games as well on Wednesday. Tomorrow, only 4 games. And then you got the in-season tournament games as well on Friday after. So let's get into it. And folks, if you haven't yet, though, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below for some more daily NBA predictions here on the channel. In about an hour, we will have our 5 best bets for college basketball here on November 20th. And yesterday, we posted our college football predictions. We predicted every single college football game, including the headliner of Indiana going on the road to Columbus, Ohio to take on Ohio State. So go make sure to check that video out. It is over 2.5 hours long of, I believe it's the longest video on my channel, of college football picks here in week 13. And then later today, actually, earlier this week, we posted our UFC Macau China predictions with Divison Figueiredo and Piotr Jan in the main event, and then later today we'll have our NFL Week Number 12 predictions. So go make sure to check all these videos out here on the channel after you get done watching this one. Let's get into the first of these 8 games today in the NBA. We start things off here in Cleveland, Ohio, for the Cavaliers taking on the New Orleans Pelicans. I get it, the Cavs lost yesterday, but hear me out, guys. I actually don't think it's that bad of a loss. As crazy as that is to say, I understand it. That's a crazy thing to say. They did lose their first game of the season, but hear me out. They covered on the road. We predicted them to win, but we also predicted them to cover, so I'm going to, take my wins where I can get them right now. But they covered on the road. Darius Garland, guys, went 3 for 21 shooting yesterday against the Celtics. 3 for 21. Darius Garland is the second leading scorer on this Cavaliers team, and he went 3 for 21 shooting this game. And they lost the game by 3 points. I still think Cleveland's the best team in the Eastern Conference. Again, Darius Garland's not going to continue to have bad games like this in big moments. He's not going to. Obviously, you got a huge game out of Donovan Mitchell. He scored 35 points. Evan Mobley scored 22. But again, Darius Garland's not going to go 3 for 21 and 0 for 6 from 3 with 8 points ever again. I'm serious. It's just not going to happen. Cleveland's going to be more than fine. I am a little bit concerned, though, for the Cavs in this game. Why? Because it's the second half of a back-to-back. That kind of concerns me. Second half of a back-to-back against the Pelicans. The Pelicans go on the road for this one. I don't know. New Orleans, again, they are on the ban list. We're never picking the Pelicans until, again, they get 2 of CJ McCollum, DeJounte Murray, and Zion Williamson back. Until they get 2 out of those 3 back, I kind of refuse to pick the Pelicans, and I refuse to pick them to beat the I refuse to pick the New Orleans Pelicans to beat the Cleveland Cavaliers, and on top of that, I refuse to pick them to cover as well. Cleveland is going to be fired up after losing their first game of the season. They're 15-1 now after losing to Boston. They'll get their rematch on next Sunday, December 1st. They'll get their revenge in Cleveland against Boston. But I think this team's going to go into that second Boston game, 20-1, 19-1. They're going to beat the New Orleans Pelicans. They're going to cover the spread as well. Again, don't let this one game against Boston deter you from picking Cleveland. They had one game where Darius Garland did not show up, and they still only lost the game by 3 points to the reigning world champions. Trust me, I think the Cavs are fine. Give me Cleveland to win this basketball game, and I think they're going to cover the 13.5 points as well. Next up, we go to Milwaukee, Wisconsin. You've got the Milwaukee Bucks hosting the Chicago Bulls. The Bucks are getting 8.5 points. I feel like that's too much, and I get it. The Bulls have been kind of pitiful this season. They are coming off, though, a 10-point victory against the Detroit Pistons in their last game on the road. Vucevic dropped 29 and 12 in that game, and shout out Josh Giddey dropping 10 assists as well. Again, Giddey, a very solid one, or point guard at least, for the Chicago Bulls team. I don't think the Bucks should be favored by this many points against anybody, okay? They were favorites in that last Rockets game. We took the Rockets on the spread. They covered pretty easily. Actually, they're getting 3.5, 4.5, but the Bucks win the game by 1 point. Guys, Milwaukee should not be favored by 8.5 points against anybody. They just shouldn't. I get it. They get Damian Lillard back. Lillard was back in their last game in that victory over Detroit. Not against Detroit, excuse me, against Houston. But again, their same problems are still here, are the Milwaukee Bucks. Giannis and Lillard and then they struggle to find a third. I get it. Brook Lopez scored 27 in their victory. Guys, Brook Lopez is not going to continue to do that on a nightly basis. I don't trust the Bucks yet. Again, once Chris Middleton comes back, the Bucks are going to be a scary force in this conference. Same with the Philadelphia 76ers. When that team figures it out, when that team gets healthy, they're going to be scary. And we're going to pick a Sixers game in a minute here. I don't know why they're favorites on the road. I'll get to that in a minute. I refuse to trust the Bucks until Chris Middleton comes back. And that's not a hit on Giannis. That's not a hit on Damian Lillard. It's a hit on the rest of the team. Because obviously, again, Giannis and Dame are going to show up every single night. Hell, Giannis is averaging what? 32 a game. Dame's averaging 25. It's the rest of the team that really concerns me. Who's going to step up? 2 games ago, it was Taurean Prince. Yesterday, it was Brook Lopez. Or 2 days ago, it was Brook Lopez. Can they get consistency elsewhere in a third straight game? That's my thing. I don't know if they will, and even if they do, I don't know if it's enough to get away from Chicago by 9 points. Give me the Chicago Bulls to win the game. I think they, sorry, from the Chicago Bulls to cover. Don't get this twisted. My fault. Give me Chicago to cover, but give me Milwaukee to win. I just feel like 8.5 points is too much. Do I trust Chicago to outright win the basketball game? Definitely not, even though they do have a better record than the Bucks right now. Chicago 6-9, Milwaukee's 5-9. Give me Milwaukee to win, but I don't think they're able to win by that many points. So Chicago covers, but Milwaukee wins. Next up, we go to Houston, Texas. You've got the Indiana Pacers going on the road to take on the Rockets. Okay, me and the Rockets, and honestly, I have very inconsistent, picking, I wouldn't say preferences, but just consistency in getting these right with the Indiana Pacers and the Houston Rockets for me it's been really tough. I'm not going to lie. Because the Pacers are so inconsistent. They're 6-8. Some nights they look great. 2 games against the Miami Heat, they look amazing. They look really good in that basketball game. But then they lose to the Toronto Raptors by 11 points on the road. I just don't understand what the Pacers are. I don't. Should we be concerned about Tyrese Halliburton? Maybe. It might be time to be concerned about the Winter Soldier, guys. I'm sorry. It might be time. He's shooting 28% from three-point land this year. It's not good. I mean, again, the points per games I guess is going up because he dropped 18 in the first Miami game, 16 in the second Miami game, 16 in the Toronto game, dropped 35 obviously in the Knicks game a couple games ago. But I mean, this is not all-star numbers out of Tyrese Halliburton, and this is not, Team USA numbers out of Tyrese Halliburton. 16, 4, and 9. I mean, again, it gets it done, but this isn't star of your team numbers that we're used to from Tyrese. And I honestly think that's what the Pacers are missing. It's Tyrese Halliburton. Sure, he's still their point guard. He's still facilitating, and he's still going to get his assists. But they miss his output on offense as well, and especially just his three-point shooting. That's the problem. Benedict Mathurin has stepped up. Pascal Siakam's playing well. Miles Turner's playing pretty well. The missing piece is Tyrese Halliburton. Again, I feel like eventually, Tyrese has to come through, right? I mean, I think he has to. But when will that happen? I don't know. With that being said, we're going back to the well and picking the Indiana Pacers. The Rockets, lose the Bucks last game. That's fine. They were on a big winning streak prior to that. They won 5 in a row against Detroit, Washington, Clippers, and then the Bulls. I think the Pacers are still the better basketball team. I just think they are. I feel good about the Miles Turner versus Alfred Sengun matchup. I like the Tyrese Halliburton, Fred VanVleet matchup as well. And then who's going to guard Pascal Siakam on the Rockets? Jabari Smith? I think Siakam's too quick. I don't know. I like the Pacers in this game. And yes, I am a Pacers homer sometimes. I do pick Indiana a lot. I don't live in Indiana anymore, but still, I don't know. I like Indiana to win this game. Again, I just kind of might, partially for me, it's too Tyrese Halliburton has to turn back into the player that we know he is. And eventually it's going to happen, right? Also, Jalen Green is questionable for this game. He's got an illness. We'll see if Jalen Green, obviously the leading scorer for the Houston Rockets, plays. With all that being said, give me the Indiana Pacers to go on the road and beat the Houston Rockets. They're getting 6.5 points. You want the safer play? Just take Indiana on the points plus 6.5. But we're going to take them on the money line as well. Give me Indiana to go on the road and to beat the Houston Rockets. Next up, we go to Memphis. We've got the Philadelphia 76ers taking on the Memphis Grizzlies. I just think this dog money for a home team is too good to pass up against a team that's 2-11. It's too good to pass up. Now, Tyrese Maxey is questionable. We will see if Maxey plays. Obviously, the 76ers had their players-only meeting after their last loss, and apparently there was some argument between Tyrese Maxey and Joel Embiid, and I guess Maxey is back. This is my thing with the 76ers, and I've said this all year long with this Philly team, and it remains true right now. When they got Paul George back from injury, when they got Joel Embiid back from injury, and when they are now getting Tyrese Maxey back from injury, regardless if he plays tonight in Memphis or when he plays on Friday at home against the Nets, he's going to come back for one of those two games. It just matters when. Okay. The Sixers cannot rely on these guys like PG and like Embiid, and again now Maxey to consistently, be their leading guy on offense when they first come back. You just can't rely on that. And that's what they did when Paul George came back. Embiid was hurt. Maxey was hurt. They said, all right, Paul George, go be the number one when they went on the road to play the Clippers. And obviously they got killed in that game. The one bright spot, though, and the difference now between when PG came back and when Embiid came back is that Jared McCain has established himself as the best rookie in this draft class. He just is. He leads their team in points. He's their best player. I think we need to keep Jared McCain in the starting lineup. I think that's what they will do. He's the best scorer on this team right now. Again, it's not going to remain that way. Obviously, Joel Embiid's going to find his footing. Tyrese Maxey's coming back. Paul George. But right now, the glue to this team is Jared McCain. However, you get Tyrese Maxey back from injury. Kyle Lowry is injured, probably not playing this game against Memphis. And again, why are we taking the 2-11 team, who I get is getting their superstars back or their all-stars back, but I can't trust them to win this game. I can't. The Grizzlies, sure, they're dealing with injuries. No Marcus Smart, no Zach Edey. That's fine. Jaren Jackson Jr. is playing like an all-star this season. I mean, just watch the offensive production that the Grizzlies get now out of Jaren Jackson. I get they're coming off a loss yesterday to the Denver Nuggets. Of course, the Nuggets finally win when it matters. No Jokic in that game either, but the Nuggets went out there and picked up the victory off the back of Russell Westbrook, of all people. But still, I don't feel bad about picking the Grizzlies in this game. I really don't. I think they're able to take care of business at home against a Philadelphia team that I do think is a little bit dysfunctional right now. Again, their glue and their gel to this team is legitimately the rookie out of Duke, Jared McCain. But beyond Jared McCain, I don't trust anything the 76ers have right now. I'm serious. Give me Memphis to win the game. Jaren Jackson is playing like a star this season, and that's what he is. Give me the Memphis Grizzlies to win the game at home. Plus money, we're going to take it. Plus 3.5. The money line for Memphis is plus 140. I like the value here from the Grizzlies. Give me Memphis to win the game, and give me them to cover the 3.5 as well. Next up, we move on to Oklahoma City. You've got the Thunder hosting the Portland Trailblazers. I completely understand no Anfernee Simons, no DeAndre Ayton, but I just think 12.5 points is too much right now. I think it is. Just bear with me for a second. You're not going to find a bigger supporter of the Oklahoma City Thunder this season than me. I'm serious. I pick the Thunder in every single game they play, and I'm going to pick them in the money line every single game they play this entire season until maybe they play the Lakers, and then, maybe it changes for me. But I'm going to continue to take the Thunder. I'm taking them, obviously, to beat the Trailblazers at home. I just think 13.5 points is too much. Sorry, 12.5. For a Thunder team that, of course, is without Chet Holmgren, Isaiah Hartenstein's still out. Their center is a 6'6" Jalen Williams. And again, we will get to Portland in a second. But this is also an OKC team that has lost back-to-back games for the first time this season to the Dallas Mavericks, and then now in the in-season tournament to a Victor Wembanyama-less San Antonio Spurs team. Can't happen. Can't happen. Again, OKC's not concerned with the IST. They're concerned about winning championships in May, but still, that's not the best look, I'm not going to lie. I would have liked to see my guys over there at the OKC Thunder win that basketball game, but they didn't. So here we are. They're taking on the Trailblazers. I get it. No Anfernee Simons, no DeAndre Ayton. It is what it is. I still think Portland covers. I think they do. Portland's been playing pretty well. They've won three in a row. Minnesota, Atlanta. They have not lost a game since I went to the Moda Center in person and watched them get blown out by the Memphis Grizzlies. But Shaedon Sharpe has excelled in those last 2 games, 33 in the Minnesota win, 32 in the victory over Atlanta. Scoot Henderson has stepped up as well. I think Portland's able to cover this line here. Don't get me wrong, they're not winning the basketball game, but I think they are catching OKC at the right time, at least for this one spot. OKC's on a second half of a back-to-back. They've lost 2 in a row. Chet's out, obviously. They have no depth at center right now. I think this is where the Trailblazers are able to catch them in terms of keeping the game close. I honestly think this is going to be a game that goes down to the wire, that OKC just wins in the very end, because Portland is just able to hang around because of the injuries from OKC. I get it, Portland's got injuries too, but also the fatigue that's settling in for the Thunder as well, because they just played yesterday in a hard-fought game against the San Antonio Spurs. Give me OKC to win, but give me the Portland Trailblazers to cover the 13.5 points, 12.5 points here on the road in Oklahoma. Next up, we go to the desert. You've got the Phoenix Suns hosting the New York Knicks. We like the Knicks to win this basketball game, and we like New York to cover as well. They're getting 5.5. Phoenix has lost 4 in a row. They've struggled with the injuries, obviously. It's been just the Devin Booker show, but there's only so much D-Book can do until his guys come back, and again, until Beal comes back, until KD comes back. Nurkic is questionable for this game as well. I can't trust Phoenix. I tried. Right now I can't. I'm going to take the Knicks here. New York has won 3 in a row, back-to-back wins over Brooklyn and a win over the Washington Wizards. Given the Wizards win, who cares? But again, beating Brooklyn back-to-back, I rate it. I do. I think Brooklyn's just a tough team to, control and dominate, obviously. We saw the Nets yesterday, obviously, win their in-season tournament game against the Charlotte Hornets. I think they're going to give Philadelphia some trouble on Friday, but we'll see. Give me New York to win this basketball game, and I don't think it's all that close. I think they kind of just run away from the Suns in this one. Jalen Brunson, Karl-Anthony Towns, and company should be able to just take care of business in this game. I just feel like with the Suns' injuries right now, Bradley Beal's been ruled out. Nurkic is questionable. There's only so much D-Book can do, and even in their last game against the Orlando Magic, a great defensive team, D-Book scored 17 points. It was actually Tyus Jones that led them in scoring. Nothing against Tyus Jones, but guys, Tyus Jones leading a team in scoring is not a winning formula. It's just not. So again, until KD comes back, and it's not like Beal's making the biggest impact, but at least the presence of Bradley Beal on the court as well does absolutely help the Phoenix Suns. Until those guys come back, I'm not going to rely on the Phoenix Suns to win basketball games. Give me the New York Knicks to go into the desert, and I think they will beat the Suns in Arizona, and I do think they will cover the 5.5 points as well. Next up, we go on to, personally, I think the game of the day. The Golden State Warriors are at home, and they're taking on the Atlanta Hawks. The Hawks came off that huge victory on the road against the Sacramento Kings. I'll make the case is, even, I know they beat Boston, but the way Atlanta played and the way they fought back in that basketball game against the Sacramento Kings, I completely understand they did the same thing against the Celtics, but I'd say that's just as impressive. Especially, again, you're on this road trip, you're on the West Coast, and you go into Sacramento and you win that game. I get it, Sacramento's hurt. It's literally just De'Aaron Fox by himself right now. But shout out to Atlanta getting the job done. They've won 2 now razor-thin close games this season against 2 good teams in the Boston Celtics and the Sacramento Kings, and they've edged both those games out by 1 point. The thing that doesn't make sense to me is their loss to the Portland Trailblazers. As I say that, watch the Trailblazers get completely decimated on the road today against the Oklahoma City Thunder. But I do like Atlanta to stay in this basketball game. Guys, Trae Young may be the best point guard in the NBA right now in terms of passing-wise. He had 19 assists in that game for the Atlanta Hawks against the Kings. So playmaking-wise, Trae Young might be the best point guard in the NBA right now. He's averaging 23 and 12 right now, and he has help. It's something that has stopped Atlanta in years past because it's just been the Trae Young show. But now Trae can still score when he needs to, but at the same time, Young can dish the rock. And again, Trae doesn't have to do everything now. You've got guys like DeAndre Hunter. You got Jalen Johnson. You've got Dyson Daniels. Richardson is still kind of coming into his own. Onyeka, Clint Capella, Larry Nance off the bench, Garrison Matthews off the bench. There are guys for this Atlanta Hawks basketball team. I don't think they beat the Warriors, just because I don't think the Warriors lose back-to-back. For some reason, the Warriors just can't figure out the Clippers this season. They've played them twice, and they've lost both times. They have 3 losses on the year, the other one being that road loss in Cleveland. So again, I just don't think the Warriors can figure out Los Angeles right now. It's really weird. Norman Powell shoots lights out against Golden State. And trust me, we'll get to the Clippers in about a minute right now. But I don't think Golden State loses back-to-back games. I think they're too good for that. I think their shooting is too good for that. They played a very poor game against the Clippers on Monday, and regardless, despite that, they still had a chance at the end of the game to win the game, tie the game with the Curry missed 3 and then the Gary Payton missed 3 as well. The Warriors are a very good team. I think they will beat the Atlanta Hawks, but I do think Atlanta is able to keep this game competitive again. I don't think the Warriors are, bad. That's the wrong way to start that. I think the Warriors are good. I don't think they're title contenders. I'll be honest with you. I think they're going to progressively fall off a little bit as the season goes on. It's how long can Curry really carry the load for this Golden State team, and how long can Buddy Hield keep this start up? Obviously, he's been dwindling a little bit. So I think, again, Atlanta is able to cover here, but I will take the Warriors to win the basketball game. The spread, I just think, is too much, 8.5. This Atlanta team's playing really well right now. The Hawks are firing on all cylinders, and they should be able to go into the Chase Center and cover the spread. So give me Atlanta to cover, but give me the Warriors to straight up win the basketball game. As we go on to our final game of the video, we've got the Orlando Magic going on the road to the Intuit Dome to take on the Los Angeles Clippers. Norman Powell is still, he's still continuing the Linsanity run. I'll be honest, I thought it was over, but after watching that game against the Warriors, no, it's not over. Norman Powell hits every single three he takes. It's ridiculous. He was 9 for 15 shooting in that game. Norman Powell was 5 for 6 beyond the arc. Good for him. The Clippers, I think, are in trouble matchup-wise in this basketball game. Orlando has broken their barrier of, winning games on the road this season because they were incapable of doing that up until their win at Phoenix. Franz Wagner, again, is the number one on this team, and he's absolutely excelling in that role. Again, Paolo went out. They decided, okay, Franz Wagner's our number one, and Franz Wagner's been killing it for this Magic team. So all the credit in the world to him. But again, where Orlando matches up better with the Clippers stylistically is with their defense. I think the Clippers, if they play a really good and really tight defensive team like Orlando, I think they will struggle. I think they'll struggle to find separation in terms of shooting. I think they'll struggle to do their drive and kick. Obviously, the Clippers run a lot this season. I just think it's going to be a rough game for Los Angeles matchup-wise. I do like the Magic. And again, I like the production out of Franz Wagner. He's been so consistent, man. I mean, again, in this win streak, Wagner, 27 points, 23 points, 32, 29, 31, 32. And he'll lead their team in assists every single night as well, and he'll be one of their leading rebounders as well. I mean, Franz Wagner, again, he's turning in an all-star caliber season, and it's only because of the Banchero injury. But again, imagine how much scarier Orlando is going to be when Banchero comes back as well. I really like the Magic in this game. They're getting 2.5 on the road here against the Clippers, and I would expect them to cover this line fairly easily. I think they win it. Again, the Clippers are coming off the high of winning back-to-back games here at home. I think the Magic kind of put them back in their place, and I'm taking the Orlando Magic to go on the road and to beat the Los Angeles Clippers and to cover the 2.5 points as well. So, folks, that'll do it for our NBA predictions here on November 20th. If you haven't yet, though, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below for more. Make sure to leave a like if you did enjoy the video. Make sure to comment if you do disagree with any of the picks. Folks, thank y'all for watching, and Mamba forever.